So I was biking yesterday and I was listening to a podcast and I had this big realization about how our four survival archetypes interfere with our biggest goals in life. And I had to stop and take notes. And I just wanted to share with you, first of all, I want to share with you where is the biggest area of work, the most efficient area of work you will ever do as you are working on yourself and achieving what you want. And second, I also wanted to show you how the four survival archetypes may be showing up in your life, but I'm also only going to choose the area of overeating and weight, the area of health. Most of us has something in life that we deal with. Everybody has this biggest life lesson that it seems like we are working and working on it and it's so slow, but it's very natural because each of us either works on the area of money or the area of love and relationships, or the biggest lesson is in the area of health and weight loss. What are really the archetypes? They are psychological patterns. They are unconscious or subconscious patterns that we carry in our psyche, and we simply display them without our conscious mind paying attention to them until we take this unconscious and bring it up to the surface to look at. And this is exactly what will be happening in the deepest work you do in the process of your transformation. I hope I didn't lose you already because I kind of lost myself, but this is exactly how it works. So why am I making this video? Am I just talking to myself to figure it out? No, I'm making this video for you. If you, for example, have this one area of work, have this one big goal, and you are wondering, okay, what modality am I going to choose to figure it out? Who am I going to see to figure this out? And you know what? Here is the key. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Go where you feel the pull, where your intuition tells you to do, what your intuition tells you to do when it comes to your healing and personal transformation. But sooner or later, when you will be doing the biggest step, the biggest transformation, you will need to work with your mind and your feelings. So you will be doing the work somewhere between your mind and your heart, with your thoughts and your feelings. And when I'm saying the mind, I'm also saying the subconscious mind, the body, because the mind, it's the conscious and the subconscious. So you have the thoughts that you are aware of, right? That this is how you think, because when we talk on a surface level, these are the thoughts that you choose to think, these are the thoughts that you choose to express. But also there are deeper beliefs, thoughts that are on the unconscious and subconscious level. And those are thoughts and beliefs that are deeply seated in your body on the cellular level. This is why sometimes when we dig deeper in the conversation, you may be saying something like, I know it sounds really weird, but this is what comes to my mind. This is where you are tapping into your subconscious mind. And you can also tap even deeper into it as you are in hypnosis. That's why I'm so happy that I'm working using life coaching tools on the level of your conscious mind, but also I have the tools of taking you to the hypnosis to discover your subconscious beliefs, so we can do the work also there. And this is the 85% or more of your whole mind, the subconscious mind. So going into the archetypes, what are they? These are unconscious patterns that show up in our psyche. For example, each of us has 12 archetypes. 4 of them are survival archetypes, and we all share them. But the remaining archetypes may be showing up in somebody's life. And you may look at a person and you may look at their life, or you may even take just few seconds and to look at a person and you will say, oh, he's such a pirate, he's such a rebel, he's such a entrepreneur, or she's such a damsel or a princess or a queen, or she's such a goddess. People cannot help but be who they are. Those people are being and doing what they are deep within. They didn't create themselves this way. This is what they brought into this life to express. This is how their soul wants to express itself. But before I get into the 4 survival archetypes, I know that they may sound negative, right? You may even feel offended that I dare to suggest that you have this one or that one. But let me tell you, there's nothing to be scared of, because remember, these are survival archetypes. They helped us at this or other point in life to survive. And sometimes that survival was literally physical survival. So we had to use one of those 4 archetypes unconsciously, because the survival brain works in such an efficient way that we don't have to think about it. Each of them has the dark attributes and the light attributes. So when I'm thinking about resolving a problem for somebody in weight loss, and the person has been going through this cycle over and over, the reason they were not able to resolve it so far is because they didn't tap into the unconscious or subconscious mind. And when we tap into this, and the way we tap into this is that you listen to your thoughts, you bring awareness into what you are actually saying, what shows up within you. And me, if you are with somebody like me, like a coach, the coach is listening to you. They are listening for the patterns, for the thoughts that are interfering with what you consciously want. So it's good to bring those patterns into your awareness so you can deliberately change them from displaying themselves in the dark way and transform them into the light, so they help you. Because the whole process of transformation in whatever area we work on is about changing darkness to light, isn't it? It's about casting light on the shadows and bringing them to our awareness. So what is an archetype? I think I already explained that. This is a pattern that people display unconsciously. They cannot help it. And therefore, survival archetypes are the prostitute, the sellout, the saboteur, the victim, and the child. I learned about archetypes from Caroline Myss. She wrote the book Sacred Contracts. And this is quite a heavy book, but she also made these cards, and I rarely use the cards because I basically don't work with archetypes. When you are looking to lose weight, how will the prostitute, the sellout, show up in your daily life? Prostitute is really about people pleasing. Like, you will eat what other people are eating. When you are in a group of people, let's say you are in a group of people and they are not eating the way you eat, okay? You eat healthy, you are trying to cut out this and this and this for your own good, from a place of abundance, not from a place of deprivation. And you really like eating this way, but you are in the group of people that doesn't care at all. They eat all kinds of bad stuff. So the prostitute will show up in a way that in order to belong and relate with the group, you are going to sacrifice your own values, sacrifice your way of eating, just so you can kind of belong. And it can also show up in the other way. When you don't really look at what you eat. Okay, let's use an example of hamburger and fries. Okay, so you love hamburger and fries, and the group that you happen to be in, they are very conscious, and they even consider it virtuous to eat healthy food, which is a problem in itself. Then in a group of people like this, you may feel self-conscious and feel guilty that you eat the way you eat, but only because you are in the company of these people. Then you may feel worse about yourself. So the prostitute may show up in the situation in this way that you will force yourself to order the salad even though you really want that hamburger. Let's look at the victim, how the victim may show up in your weight loss journey. You are trying different coaches, different diets. The victim is about what? Not taking responsibility for yourself. And I hope that you understand, I'm not talking about real victims. I'm talking about the psychological patterns that each of us has, whether we want it or not. Maybe you were trying different diets, and the way victim will show up in your language, how you express yourself, is that you are going to blame your lack of success on the diet. This diet didn't work. Oh, I worked with the coach, but no, it didn't really work. I'm still, overweight. And in a way, you are falling into the victimhood of why you cannot lose weight because nothing works. And sometimes it's true that we need to dig deeper to figure out what actually will work for you. Maybe there's some medical problem. But in the end, you need to transform the victim from its shadow attribute to its light attribute in order to overcome this pattern. And if victim is about blaming, then the opposite will be taking ownership, taking responsibility. And very often it is about simply doing what you said you will do, because it's not like things don't work. We have to work for those things to work. So the shadow attribute of the victim is playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. Okay, this is how else the victim may show up. Hey, I couldn't stick to my protocol this week because other people showed up with the bread and cakes and stuff, so I had to. So that also is about maintaining personal boundaries. When there is food around, some participate in a gathering where there is food that is not helping you lose weight, actually the opposite, it's helping you gain a lot of weight, then being a victim, you are not setting the boundaries around what are your decisions about what you will be eating. Okay, so we talked about the victim. Now let's talk about the saboteur. Saboteur in weight loss, you lose weight, but you cannot stay at that level, so you gain it back. You lose and you gain. You sabotage yourself. You sabotage your big goal. But why? I see saboteur as this pattern that is protecting our ego. That means our deep beliefs about something, the way we used to live for a long time, for decades. We now identify ourselves with this, regardless of it serving us or not. So the saboteur protects us from change, protects us from transformation. It protects the ego by protecting the pattern we used to live, but it also protects us from being vulnerable. That means, how would it look like in weight loss? So you get to a place where you lost weight, okay? You lost weight, and now what shows up in this moment? What would you have to deal with in order to stop this cycle and keep going the path that you chose to lower weight. You will probably have to face the old beliefs. There will be a period of time that is uncomfortable, because that would mean that you are no longer that person. You cannot longer identify yourself with the group of people who has this problem, who has this drama. And now you are trying on to be the person who lost weight permanently and no longer has to engage in this mind drama around food and weight. So what does Caroline says about Saboteur? The light attribute of Saboteur is highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. So you sabotage yourself in the moment of potential change, like you got higher position at your job. You may want to sabotage yourself because you have fear of being empowered and being the person who can handle this position. When it comes to relationships, I know I was just going to talk about weight loss, but this comes to my mind. Okay, so shadow induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others. I see it in relationships. If you cannot find a partner and somebody shows up who is potentially a good partner for you, you may so identify with the person who doesn't have long-term relationships that you will sabotage this new relationship that actually has a great potential to be a long-lasting relationship. This is how the saboteur is the survival archetype of the ego, because in a relationship, you kind of have to be vulnerable. You cannot pretend in front of the other person that you are who you are not. You cannot just show the good parts of you. You have to show it all. This is my weakness, and this is my strength. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm not good at. This is where I need help. And so imagine all that need for vulnerability in this moment. So obviously the saboteur kicks in unless we realize, oh, this is the moment when I am afraid of the empowerment. Okay, how does the fear show up? What am I thinking? What do I think is the danger? And when you really slow down, this is actually what we do in life coaching, when we slow down and unpack all those unconscious beliefs that we are now excavating from below the surface of your conscious mind, this is when we can actually safely start making the transition to who you actually want to be consciously. Okay, let's move on to the child archetype, the fourth survival archetype. We actually have a lot of child archetypes: the magical child, the orphan, eternal, nature, and the divine. So they all have the light and dark attributes. As you are thinking about your weight struggles, as I'm reading the shadow attributes, check if you recognize yourself in them. For example, the nature child. Do you waste a lot of food? Do you have often veggies dying in your fridge when you are reaching more often for mac and cheese or other type of food that children like? If yes, then the light side of that would be to eat according to nature, eat according to what your body needs for nutrition. So that means also learning, maybe growing your own garden if you have that possibility. the child doesn't want to be alone. So you will not want to do things alone, for example, exercise alone or go through some diet alone. You will want to have somebody there with you. You want somebody to hold your hand in a way or assist you in the new things. When it comes to the wounded child, that I think that would be about people who had some traumatic events. It could happen that those would lead you to overeating, trying to change your emotional state, making yourself feel better through food. Also, maybe it led to some serious eating disorders. So that would be the work for the therapist. The shadow attribute of the wounded child blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds. The shadow resists moving on through forgiveness. So now you know that when you have the wounded child archetype and you eat because you blame others, maybe you are in a way stuck in the past memories, one of the most important things will be to learn the path of forgiveness. And then the next logical step, serve others who have the wounded child archetype. How often does that happen? A person heals and now they're on a mission to end other people's suffering. Here's the interesting part. The eternal child, the light attribute, determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. But the opposite of that would be inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security and for ideas what to eat. So you probably see a lot of people who have the eternal child archetype, but the light attribute, because so many people have the determination to remain young in the body, mind, and spirit. And with their ability to see with fresh eyes, they are constantly learning about how to improve their diet. The magical child, shadow, pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. You know, sometimes you want something, but we don't connect the dots that we actually have to do something to get it. I know it sounds almost impossible that a person wouldn't make the connection, but I know it happened to me. I know that sometimes I caught myself that, oh no, I didn't realize that I actually have to do this to get this. So if you are overweight and you want to lose a lot of weight, if you are in the shadow of the magical child, you may not consciously be making the connection that maybe you need to eliminate certain foods, eat less, take action, and spend energy in order to get where you want to be. But the light attribute of magical child is seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. And don't we need that belief that everything is possible as we are moving through the weight loss process? Because sometimes it may feel like it's impossible because it takes so much work. But when you have the belief, that belief creates the energy for the action. Thank you for listening. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel. If you are intrigued with something, please comment underneath and I will talk more about it. I know this video had several layers, but still, I hope it helped you to connect some dots when it comes to you, your shadow, your light, and the archetypes that speak through your language and through your behavior, the archetypes of your soul.